The Midnight Dance by CartoonNerd12. Chapter 17. Here we are, Discord motioned to the guys. Our very own training facility. The boys looked around the grounds of the Canterlot Castle. It looked like the same jousting arena, but things were added to it. They could see targets with ice arrows next to them, dumbbells lying on the ground, chopping blocks, jumping ropes, a pool, balance beams, and other acrobatic stuff. They heard a whistle and turned to see Discord in coach attire. "All right, show me what you've got." He snapped, and they found themselves wearing gym wear with sweatbands and leg warmers. "Give me 10 laps around the track," he barked, and they didn't waste a moment to do so. Both Soren and Flash had proven themselves to be the fastest. Cheesy came in second. Fancy Pants next to last, and Spike was the last one. He was panting and collapsed to the grass. Discord stopped his stopwatch, yelling out, 20 minutes! 20 minutes! That is going to be a record for the lowest score in history! I'll be faster next time, Spike objected. There isn't going to be a next time if a changeling or a nightmare catches you. Get to a station and show me what you can do. Hey, who made you in charge of this mission? Soren protested. Discord popped on Sherlock attire, blowing from a bubble pipe. It's elementary, my dear Soren. 1, I have the power. 2, I'm the most experienced compared to all of you. And 3, I did. He snapped back on his coach wear. Now get going. Once they rotated from station to station, it showed Discord all of the boys' strengths and weaknesses, but it seemed Spike was showing a lot of weakness. He said under his breath, "We've got a long way to go. Maybe there's some other way to make things go faster." Then, with a snap, he had Vinyl Scratch with her DJ player. He whispered a request, and she started playing the music. That got the guys to stop what they were doing and look around in bewilderment. Discord started singing. "Let's get down to business to defeat the nightmares. Did they send me orders when I asked for sons? You're the saddest bunch I ever met, but you can bet before we're through." He grabbed Spike by the tail, facing him at eye level. "Mister, I'll make a colt out of you." He threw them down and placed the guys onto the stations where they were the weakest. "Tranquil as a forest, but on fire within." He used a torch to light an equestrian games ring. "Once you find your center, you are sure to win. You're a spineless, pale, pathetic lot, and you haven't got a clue. Somehow I'll make a colt out of you." Flash worked on his balance on the beam. "I'm never going to catch my breath." Soren tried the jump rope, but kept getting tangled in it. "Say goodbye to those who knew me." Spike was at the chopping block, but he only got a black eye. "Boy, was I full at school for cutting gym." Luna was nearby, watching the whole thing. "He's got them scared to death." Spike was working on his running. "Really hope he doesn't fail me." Fancy was staring at the pool, looking frightened. "Now I really wish that I knew how to swim." The Royal Guard sang out, "They are cold, we must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Time is racing toward us till the nightmares arrive. Heed my every order, and you might survive." He saw Spike slipping up and went over to him. "You're unsuited for the rage of war, so pack up, go home, you're through. How could I make a colt out of you?" Spike slowly walked away, but then took out AJ's hat. With a determined look, he set out to every station with a smarter way of passing them. The stallions cheered him on. "Be our colt, we must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. Discord was impressed by Spike's performance and shook his claw. All of the guys sang as they got better with their stations. We must be swift as a coursing river, with all the force of a great typhoon, with all the strength of a raging fire, mysterious as the dark side of the moon. And time! Discord stopped the stopwatch. Well done! It is more than certain you are ready to face battle now. Hate to admit it, indicated Flash, but if you hadn't shown us what could happen and strengthened our low points, who knows what might have happened if we were trying to go save the girls. But of course, and as for you, Mr. the Dragon, you've got guts and smarts. What made you come back after I was being so hard on you? AJ. He took out her hat and showed it to them. I knew she wouldn't want me to give up. And I have to save her so I can tell her. He covered his mouth and vaguely blushed, but the guys were giving him sly grins, knowing exactly what he was going to say. My boy, you have earned my respect. All of you have, for being so willing to keep going for what's at stake here. So, here. He snapped as glasses of chocolate milk appeared before them. Enjoy. You deserve it. Fancy magically lifted his glass and said, A toast, then, to the princesses who made us each a better colt. Now, we can return the favour by rescuing them from a terrible misfortune. To the girls! Spike lifted his glass. To the girls! They all repeated and tapped their glasses together. Cheese didn't waste a second and slurped down all of his at a fast pace. Could have used some whipped cream. Noted. I'll give a new glass when we rescue the girls. By the way, where do we have to go in order to save them? Soren asked. If I'm right, which I'm pretty sure I am, Discord summoned up a tent for them to be in, and had a general uniform, with the others wearing each a trooper uniform or a cadet uniform. He pulled down a huge map showing the borders of Equestria. The princesses are on the outskirts of Equestria, near Changeling territory. Here's the plan. Pack your saddlebags. We're moving out first thing in the morning. Am I understood? Yes, sir! They saluted. He saluted back. Dismissed. I want you all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We've got a long journey ahead of us. They all nodded as he got rid of the tent and their uniforms. All throughout the night, the guys could hardly get a wink of sleep, not sure what they were going to face on this mission. They felt it was partly their fault for where the girls were at, but it was safe to say that none of them, even the princesses, saw this coming. The next day, they woke up preparing themselves. Cheese grabbed a football helmet and a baseball bat, and took a box full of pranks, putting it in his bag. Fancy wore a hunting outfit, and packed the essentials, as well as bringing some more luggage. Soren wore his goggles, and brought along a bag he used when going between Canterlot and Cloudsdale. When telling Spitfire, in absolute secrecy, of what had happened to the princesses, he was given the time off to go and help rescue them. Spike got a bag together on a stick with food and other odds and ends. Lastly, he put on Applejack's hat, to give him the confidence and motivation he would need out in the world while travelling hundreds of miles to get to the princesses. He looked over to the wall of his room, and saw a picture hanging there of him and the princesses when they were little. He was just a cute baby dragon in Filly Twilight's arms, as the other sisters crowded around them. Looking closely now, he could see young Applejack reaching her arm out to him, and he in return was reaching out to her in playfulness. He couldn't help but smile. Even then, we had an attraction. Feeling more bold than he ever had been, he put the picture in his bag and ran out. Flash was packing his bag he brought with him to the castle, and then felt something from below the bag and took it out. He had almost forgotten he had an invisibility cloak that Sakura had given him. Then, looking back to the day he saved her, her words came back to him. Yes, things will be needed for when things get heated. He said to himself, so that's what she meant. She knew this was going to happen. I'll have to bring this. He stuffed the cloak back into the bag and set off. They all met in the throne room where Celestia and Luna were waiting for them. Discord popped in wearing camping gear and a huge camping backpack. Well, what is it you wanted, Celestia? We've got a long day ahead. This will be quick. I offer my thanks for all of you for doing this, but the dangers will be great. It is not too late to turn back. They looked over at Discord and shook their heads. telling him that their minds were made up. Sorry, Tia, but I speak for these guys when I say we will stop at nothing until your daughters are back home. Thank you. She started releasing tears. Someday, I hope to repay you for this. It's the least I can do after trying to keep you and my girls apart. This is all their father and I could have wanted. Our daughters having found their true loves. Luna took over. I wish we could accompany you on your quest, but we cannot abandon our ponies without causing worry of a possible threat among us, and the sun and the moon can't rise and set by themselves in Equestria. But we can offer you this. She took out a vessel filled with water inside and gave it to Discord. It's from the lake of the underground kingdom. It has healing properties. Use it wisely. Not to fret, Lulu. We have the gift of chaos on our side and a first aid kit. We'll be fine. Discord put the small bottle in his pack. Celestia said, Discord, I know this will be a strange request for you, but when you see my darlings, tell them how sorry I am, and I love them so much that I wish I never caused pain to them. I'm also proud of them, despite everything that's happened. Can you do that? Wow. He rubbed his neck. I'll try, but I don't think it'll be the same coming from me. We'll help you out, nudged Spike. You better, he smirked. Now go, there isn't any time. They bowed before the royals and went out the door. Luna told her sister, I hope there'll be a happy ending. As do I. Celestia silently prayed that it would be so. Back in Chrysalis's dungeon, Rainbow was still trying to break off her chain. Give it up, Rainbow, AJ told her. Yes, please stop, said Rarity. That clanging is giving me a headache. Well, why hasn't Twa used her magic to get us out of this? I've been trying, but this chain is preventing me from teleporting. Watch. Her horn glowed as she tried to get out, but then her chain started to glow green, stopping her. See? Rarity slumped. I'm afraid we're stuck here until help comes. I thought you said you weren't a damsel in distress, Rainbow pointed out. I'm not, but I know a hopeless situation when I see it. Hopeless? Pinky's mane slightly deflated. AJ said, It's only hopeless if we make it seem that way. But, Fluttershy slowly said, Isn't it? Kind of? Pinky dramatically shrieked, We're doomed! Doomed! We're not doomed yet, Rainbow yelled out. We're doomed when the curse is placed on us, or if one of us is chosen to become Blue Blood's wife. She stuttered at the thought. Any takers? Absolutely not, cried Rarity. I already turned down his proposal back in Canterlot. I will gladly refuse it again. But what happens if he chooses you? Asked Twilight. He wouldn't dare. She had fury in her eyes. It is possible, Applejack said. She gritted her teeth, fuming of the probable chance that cousin Blueblood would choose her just to get back at her. As they made it to the outside of the castle and onto Canterlot streets, Spike realised something. Hey, wait a second. Can't you just teleport us to the Changeling Kingdom? It would make things a lot easier. I would, except teleporting takes a lot of magical energy. And I would rather have to teleport all of you and the girls, so I'd rather keep that as an emergency getaway for when we need it. That is a good idea, agreed Flash. Plus, no doubt Chrissy will have some kind of magical barrier detecting any magic within a block radius. And I would like to keep the element of surprise by our side. A most capital plan. Fancy complimented. Thank you, Discord looked smugged. I try, you know. So, we're walking? Cheese questioned. You'll all have to walk, but I get to fly. Soren flew above them. Yeah, until your wings wear out, and then you'll have to join us on the ground, motioned Flash. Says the Pegasus who can fly too, you know. I've been taught to only use your wings if necessary, and I'd like to use my wings for when we rescue the girls. I suggest you do the same. Sure, whatever. Anyway, where do we go from here? Discord thought. I would like to get a closer look at that castle in the Everfree Forest. This all started when we were... back there, gulped Spike. Yes, that castle has something to do with the princesses, and I want to know why they were suddenly fainting to it. There's a link we're missing. Follow me, spoke Flash. I know a way to get there faster. He took the lead. When making it to the castle ruins minutes later, They stared at it from the rope bridge. Flash took a deep breath and walked across. Luckily, he did not faint like Twilight did, and crossed through. He signaled for the others to come over. Spike nervously touched the bridge with his foot, and quickly ran over, bumping into the guard. Soren just flew straight ahead. Fancy took his time as they made it in a gentle cold strut. Cheese bounced up and down to them. They looked over to see that Discord was still on the other side. "What are you waiting for?" Soren called out. "Yeah, you're the one who wanted to be here," shouted Spike. "Oh, relax, I'm getting there," he started mumbling. But it wasn't loud enough for Spike to hear. "You youngsters are so impatient these days." Spike had to roll his eyes. Discord straightened his back and was humming while taking his sweet time. Soren slapped his face. "Just pick up the pace, would ya?" The spirit paid no heed as he was still humming as he made it to the edge of the bridge. "There now, see? Nothing to get your knickers in a knot!" He shouted that last word across the bridge, causing it to break, and he was falling into the foggy crevice. "Discord!" They all shouted, and they all looked over the edge of where he fell. All of them had shocked expressions on their faces, trying to figure out what just happened. He's not," stammered Soren. "I don't know." Spike couldn't get the words out. "But he was our only hope of saving them!" Cheese wailed. "True, he was unsavory, but he did have a certain savoir-faire to him," Fancy said. "It's just so hard to believe," Flash gawped, still looking down from where Discord fell, "that he's gone." They all kept their heads down until they heard snickering. They turned around to see a floating Discord laughing his head off. "You should have seen your faces! Priceless!" "Discord!" they all yelled in anger. "You were faking it!" Spike stipulated. "Well, duh. You know you can't get rid of me that easily." "Although I was quite touched that you care like that. I thought only Fluttershy could do that." "Just don't let it happen again," pointed Fancy. "We are on a tight schedule after all." "You are so right. Enough games. We have pressing business inside." He used his magic to open the doors that were still standing. "Gentle colds first." The stallions gave exasperated looks and went ahead. Inside the castle was old and crumbling. There were different hallways. Inside, the castle was old and crumbling. There were different hallways going all over the place, and above the stairway were 2 tapestries ripped and torn. Cheese shuddered. "Oh, pretty creepy and eerie." "You said it," Soren nodded. Then, out of nowhere, a thunderous voice filled the palace. "What are you doing here? Get out!" The rest of the guys were intimidated and got in a huge huddle, but Discord was unfaltered and demanded, "Who are you? Show yourselves!" "No, it is you who must go. Leave this place and never return." "Not until you tell us who you are, or we won't leave otherwise." Right," the guys quaked. "So I ask again, who are you?" As a dark shadow, the figure moved to the top of the stairs and faced them, with only his head. They stood before him, with his glowing, crooked horn, and green and red glowing eyes. The boys all looked scared, but Discord just smirked and said, "Hello, Sombra."